And what we also accomplished were to create create terraces along the streetscape, the proposed streetscape, and provide seat walls along pretty much the entire building frontage. And those seat walls would be 2.5 feet tall. And the idea behind that was to not have to require fall protection, so anything 30 inches or less, you don't need fall protection. So again, we have retaining walls ringing the perimeter of the buildings, and it provides for a landscaped area between the sidewalk and the building to shade a little bit of the garage area that's incorporated into the design. One of the aspects of the overall engineering design had to do with flood hazard compliance, and making sure we had our garage parking area above the flood hazard elevation, and that's what drove the pretty much the grading for the project. And, we are compliant, and this has been submitted to DEP for their final comments.
Can you describe the interior circulation and how it's been revised?
Yes. So again, previously we had access from the street onto into the parking garage, and we also had separate circulation. Currently, we're showing one-way circulation with an entrance off of Gillick Drive, and that can access building A, and then continue on through the parking field to access building B. To access building B, and then to exit the site, you just come out and take that.
Did you say it's one way?
That's correct. So one of the other items, just so that the board can understand, the layout that we have shown on the plan includes the infrastructure improvements that will be completed with the development of this area. And those plans are pretty much complete. If they're not submitted to the city, they will be within the next day.
And then subject to city council approving the on-ground areas,
That's correct.
which is something that we will come before the city council to consider separately. That's it. Someone have Mr. Curley?
Quick
One-
question?
Sure.
The seat walls, are they inside the city right of way or outside the city right of way?
They are on the city right of way, so they are outside of the city right
They're on the private
of way. On the
property.
property.
They're on the property. Okay, thank you.
Right, and I'm just going to ask our landscape architect to wrap up the description of the landscaping that's being proposed. Mr. Left, if you could please just introduce yourself for the record.
Good evening, my name is Brian Lett. I'm a licensed landscape architect and the president of PMLC.
We've heard a good deal about the building so far. Can you just talk about the landscaping both as it's proposed and sort of point out what's been changed in response to the TRC's comments?
Yes. The other professionals actually did a very good job of describing the changes to make my life a little bit easier. From a landscape perspective, all of the plants that are being selected are salt tolerant, number one criteria. Most of them are native to New Jersey, although there are a few plants such as hydrangeas and knockout roses that aren't necessarily native but are very traditional to the shore landscape. Nothing unique that we haven't seen before. The key changes to this plan, as was previously mentioned, was the main change, I should say, was the elimination of the driveways off of the street directly into the building. From a landscape perspective, that opened up a lot of opportunity to add more plants, dress up the building, make it a little less institutional. Originally, we also had open space paved areas at the corners, intended for use by the residents, but there was nothing blocking it from the public. In our discussions, it was determined that that space would be better used as green space and to dress up the building a little more, to add some more landscaping. And that's where the seat walls come into play. Rather than have a at-grade sitting area, we raised everything up, provided the sitting area around the perimeter with some nice landscaping behind it, soften it up. There was a request to add limestone caps to all of the walls to ensure that they're wide enough that you can sit on it, so it's not just an 8-inch wide concrete wall, or I'm sure you've all seen those around. These would be attractive. The entrance, actually really like the suggestion that came in to make one wider set of stairs and two smaller entry stairs going into the main building. I think that really adds a nice look to it, and I think it just brings it up to the next level. The walls do continue along all the frontages, so you will have sittable area around the entire project. I believe that's really what's new.
I think that covers it. So that concludes our presentation, unless there are questions from the council.
Okay. Any questions? No, but we're going to open it up to the public, so I'm sure you're going to stick around to answer any questions they have.
We'll be here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
A motion of the meeting to the public. All in favor? All participation portion is now open. Any member of the public who wishes to speak, please use the microphone. State your name and address for the record. There will be 3 minute timing for each speaker. Again, your name and address.
I'm Darren Mallitter, live at 1700 West Miramar. We live on the north face, lakeside. So my question is to the project engineer or the architect. You're providing 15-foot offset from our window to your building. That seems rather small. What's the requirement for an offset from a building code, city code wise? Local code?
The waterfront redevelopment zone allows for the 0 lot line, so we could actually be another 6 feet closer.
So we've got windows facing your building. Obviously, the apartment complex, the 8-story building has windows facing south, ours facing north. This building is clearly going to shade our area, change our sunlight, obviously our view. Was there any consideration of using that area as a parking drive instead of a building? You know, you have like an L-shaped building, the north building is L-shaped. Was there any consideration of making it a rectangle and perhaps having parking there instead of a building that's shading the Miramar property? Like you have a nice big open area, I guess. You have a nice parking area that's not, it's like, it doesn't, there's no view from anybody's window in that parking, right? There's hardly any view. The Miramar building the northeast side of the building doesn't have windows. Yet we have 60 feet of offset to the next building, which is actually the existing building. So you didn't change that at all. But you decided to put the building, your building, very close to Miramar, giving us 15-foot offset. I'm just bringing that up as a concern. I think it changes our sunlight, changes our whole world, right? Our view, I understand our view can be compromised. I didn't think that our shading would be compromised. than our sunlight. The other question, and I don't know if anybody has a response to that. Probably not.
Just so that the council can understand that the layout that has been proposed was set up in order to, and to ensure that we were compliant with the required parking. And that was to make sure that we had a minimum of 2 parking stalls per unit.
Okay. But you do have underground parking as well, under the structure parking as well. It's not just this open area.
And that is included in the total.
So if you, I guess my point is, if you added parking on the north side, the south side of your north building next to our windows, that would add some spaces. And maybe you could change the offset to our, you could get, I don't know how many spaces there. If you offset it 40 feet, you could do some diagonal parking like you have everywhere else that you propose. Looks like you have some, well, I'll save that for the next comment. It looks like on the 8th Avenue side, and south, just one question.
Go ahead.
On the 8th Avenue side, you have, like you said, you're doing some roadway improvements. You're changing, one thing you're changing, the diagonal parking is on the south side of the building, of the roadway currently. You're adding diagonal parking to the north side to get more parking spots, I suppose, right, of that 8th Avenue street.
I can answer that one. The changes on the street are actually required by the infrastructure component report, which is a document that city council adopted. So even if this building were designed differently, that part of the layout would be as reflected.
Okay, currently it's a parallel park.
Correct, correct.
Okay, and one of your slides, the last slide, showed a building on the big open lot south of that, 8th Avenue. I think that rendering is wrong if you were to go to the last slide. I can point it out.
That was showing a building that's proposed.
Proposed building.
Right, it doesn't, I will agree with you, it doesn't exist.
Yeah, you should probably get it off.
Go ahead.
Thank you.
Hi. I'm pleased to say council, make a statement on behalf of the homeowner that couldn't make it.
Sure, just your name and address.
My name is Allison Marshall, 305 8th Avenue.
Thank you.
This is on behalf of the Healy Sisteruk household. Within a matter of feet on 8th Avenue, Asbury Partners is slated to build almost 100 townhomes, condos, residential units, including this project we're discussing tonight. 94 total multi-million-dollar dwellings that will not pay taxes for 30 years. 94 dwellings that will allow our schools to lose funding and the homeowners and renters to pick up the slack. Just as all the other condos and townhouses that have come from this redevelopment. They'll build these 94 dwellings on tiny parcels of land stolen through eminent domain that were then defaulted to Asbury Partners 15 years ago. Pretty confident they've made their money back on those loans and then some. Their developments do not pay their fair share. They bombard our neighborhoods with their copy and paste housing. They drive up gentrification, allow our historic buildings to crumble into the ocean, ignore any ecological alarms in order to make as much money as they possibly can before the next big storm. I think it is clearly proven time and time again that they are not good neighbors and do not have any real vested interest in what our city is besides making enormous profit. Just because there are 15,000 people in this room right now due to many factors, including the one I'm speaking on behalf of, I guarantee you there is not one resident or homeowner in this city that is saying, oh yay, more monoculture and eyesore townhomes and condos going up for a 30-year tax abatement in 2024. And I stand behind all of that. I know our opinions here tonight are simply opinions. We don't have legal cause to stop you from doing it. My one hope is that it takes you as long to pass this as it does for you to finish 8th Avenue road work. Thank you.
I agree with you. The road work on 8th Avenue was the road from hell.
And thank you for putting up with all my emails
Yeah.
and responding.
And as was stated before, this was agreed upon many years ago.
Yes.
And it was quote for, I'm gonna have to, wrong number, but I'm gonna be close, say for 3,200 potential units. And it's gonna be cut down to about 2,000, which is good. And where this building could be 6 to 8 stories, previous agreement, it's only 4 mezzanine. So,
May I speak for one more moment on behalf of myself, since there's hardly anyone here, just one quick statement.
yeah, you didn't use your whole 3 minutes, so you got to.
Is mine.
It's just about the 30-year tax abatement, that's what
Again.
goes up sideways, and I know that's part of the redevelopment.
It's a legal binding document that we cannot unilaterally get out.
I understand
And we
that,
asked them to renegotiate, and they said, no, we're happy, so.
yeah, because when I first moved here in 2008, my rent was $900, and that same place that I lived is $3,500. And a lot of that has to do with the tax abatement, and I'm absorbing that as well as other renters. There's just one.
Okay, I don't know if it has to do with the tax abatements, but you made your
Well,
point.
yeah, thank you.
Anybody else from the public like to be heard? Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kelly Wu. I live in Miramar on 1700 Web, 1B. My husband just spoke about the distance between our building to the next building. Literally, when that happens, the building is something in my face. I'm not gonna have any utilities. It's gonna literally, we're not gonna have any privacy. It's very, very stressful for me. But another thing I really wanted to speak about is the parking. Right now, there are some changes and they took away a lot of residential parking. And because of that, we have less parking. And then on top of it, this new development, I don't think they should provide every parking need for other tenants. That means there's going to be even less parking. And a lot of people on 8th Avenue and everybody in Miramar, we don't have designated parking space. We are already in problem as it is. And when this happens, everybody on 8th Avenue, Web Street, people who live on Kingsley, they're going to have a lot of problem with parking. And this is very concerning because already by Friday night, after like 6 o'clock, I cannot find parking. I have to rotate street by street, good 10, 15, 20 minutes, especially summer. I can't move my car after Friday. And I don't know if you could provide more residential parking in the area or have some kind of arrangement. What am I going to do with my car? We only have one car between us. It's not like we want 2 cars. And I don't know what's going to happen when this happens. And it's very stressful for me. Parking stressful, more people stressful. My windows getting blocked is stressful. I live on 1st floor. I'm not gonna have any sunlight. I don't really care about the view, but literally their wall or somebody else's window is going to be on my face. That's really stressful. That's all I'm saying.
Thank you. And else like to be heard on any subject, not just this building, on anything in the city.
I just like, actually, I'm Robin Singer, and I'm a landlord in an apartment in Miramar, which I purchased about 4 years ago. Taxes went from 5,600, now they're well over 8 a year. I just wanted to know when this project is expected to be started and when it's expected to be finished.
If they know the answer, their answer. If not, that's the time to
Do you have a rough idea?
As far as getting started, we still have a ways to go. So after this, we do have to have a city council act and then appear at the planning board. And that takes a number of months. Once we start planning board, typically I think it's a less than 2-year process for construction.
It's 2 years of
Two,
construction.
2.5.
Two and a half years of construction. Once we start, but again, we have more steps to go before we get the approvals in order to start.
Okay. Also, I know when you guys or whoever was cleaning out the back parking area with all the junk and the garbage cans, which I'm glad that they're gone. My apartment's on the first floor, and all the air conditioning units were on the first floor. So a lot of them had caked in dust and grime and stuff stuck into the units. They'd pay for an HOA guy to come there, clean them out. Once you start digging and doing all that other stuff, will you guys be responsible? Or, whatever happens, happens, it's just the fact of life that, or will there be some kind of protection for the units back there when you're doing the work?
So I can't speak to the move out, because I know that was city equipment being moved off to another location. But I imagine there could be some construction coordination at the time.
I was wondering.
And there's also a requirement for soil erosion and sediment control, and that's one of the approvals that we ultimately have to obtain. And those provisions and requirements will be on the site before we start construction.
And what's the price point on these? Curious.
What?
I don't actually know that yet.
Yeah,
I hope
We haven't established the prices yet, so.
Same million plus range or?
we will have to
There-
provide that information to the city in connection with later requests and all the financial documents, but we haven't submitted that yet. It sounds like we won't have it firmly established yet.
1%.
I just wanted, did you say that the construction will be 2.5 years? Is that what you?
Approximately 2 to 2.5 years, yes.
The two buildings won't start simultaneously.
Yeah, there's going to be a gap between the construction of the two buildings. It's approximately 3 to 4 months between one building. The plan is to start the building on the northwest corner first, and then proceed to the next building after that on the southeast corner.
And just for the record, Mr. Holmes, that's Carl Erler with Maybe answering questions about the construction phasing.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Not motion to close.
All in favor? Aye. Participation is now closed.
Just one thing for everybody. This is step one, because obviously step one is TRC, where the people in the TRC community didn't like some of the things, they like using 10 parking spots on the street. So change the entrances, that's change some of those steps, make them wider. And tonight's just a presentation. And then we will have another big bite at the apple when they go to the planning board. And you'll be notified that, I don't see that happening before the end of the year.
I don't know, it has the
That
planning
we
board
don't have,
schedule.
we don't know the planning board schedule either, I mean, applicants they have before. That's where like some of the questions asked, and did you guys do a study on shade?
We've not done a shade study to provide more than what's required under the plan.
Okay. That question may come up at the planning board level, too, so just give me a heads up if you, without questions. So again, you will be notified when that does happen, and you'll be able to ask much more than previous. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now on to the minutes.
Thank you. Let's go.
Okay, we're now on to the minutes of the municipal council executive session, regular meeting minutes of the August 14, 2024 meeting. Do I have a motion? Second. Councilmember Lennon, yes. Councilmember Chad. Now on to consent agenda. We can vote on consent agenda. Vote. Any matter Exception desired by one or more council Now, on individual resolution. Resolution 2024-407, resolution approving payment of bills. Move that. Councilmember Redmond, yes. Councilmember Chapman. Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-408, resolution authorizing the purchase and installation of an HVAC system for the police department at Move it. Second. Councilmember Redmond, yes. Councilmember Chapman. Yes. Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-409, resolution authorizing the purchase of personal protection turnout units for fire department. Councilmember Redmond, yes. Councilmember Chapman. Yes. Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-410, resolution authorizing purchase of ammunition for the police department. Move it. Second. Councilmember Redmond. Yes. Councilmember Chapman. Yes. Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-411, resolution ordering the purchase of snow fencing needed at the beach in Rockville, Fly, LLC. Move it. Second. Councilmember Redmond. Yes. Councilmember Chapman. Yes. Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-412, resolution authorizing design services and contract administration services to Dynamic Traffic LLC for safe routes to transit, intersection upgrades, and traffic signal installation at Cookman and Bond Street. Move it. Second. Councilmember Bez, yes. Councilmember Chapman. Yes. Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-413, resolution authorizing the annual renewal of vector scheduling software to the fire department. Move it. Second. Councilmember Bez. Councilmember Chapman. Yes. Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-414, resolution authorizing the city of Asbury Park to implement the competitive contracting process to procure the software and management concerning the scheduling, fee structure, payment processing, and record keeping of off-duty police detail administration in the city. Second, Councilmember Redmond. Yes. Councilmember Chapman. Yes. Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-415, resolution authorizing the purchase of short-term rental permitting software needed for code enforcement. Move it. Second. Councilmember Redmond. Yes. Councilmember Chapman. Yes. Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-416, resolution amending resolution 2023-438, and the contract with S Brothers for roadway improvement program. Move it. Councilmember Redmond. Yes. Councilmember Chapman. Yes. Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-417, resolution amending the scope of engineering services to be performed by CDM Smith Incorporated relating to the design of Phase 1 wastewater treatment plant improvements in order to include system resiliency with wastewater treatment plant break room, structural improvements for belt thickener access, improvements for screenings, effluent pump check valve replacement, additional structural analysis. For the motion, move it. Councilmember Bez. Yes. Councilmember Chapman. Yes. Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-418, resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Asbury Park to enter into a professional services agreement with Public Resources Advisory Group for the provision of RAD administration for PHM Sunset Park Urban Renewal LLC, Pulte, Lot 4205. Move it. Councilmember Bez. Yes. Councilmember Chapman. Yes. Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-419, resolution approving change order number 2 for the 2022 roadway improvement program.
Move it.
Second. Councilmember Bez. Yes. Councilmember Chapman. Yes. Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-420, resolution approving change order number 11 for Memorial Drive improvements project. Move it. Second. Councilmember Bez. Yes. Councilmember Chapman. Yes. Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-421, resolution authorizing the execution of the indemnification and hold harmless agreement with New York SMSA Limited Partnership doing business as Verizon Wireless. Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Bez. Yes. Councilmember Chapman. Yes. Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-422, resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Asbury Park authorizing the use of the properties located at 512 Summerfield Avenue and 514 Summerfield Avenue as a parking lot on an interim basis and authorizing the entry of an interim parking agreement between SAC and Asset Management LLC and the city of Asbury Park. Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Redmond. Yes. Councilman Chapman. Yes. Councilman Clayton. Yes. Secretary Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-423, resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Asbury Park to enter into a professional services agreement with BJH Advisors for the provision of grant administration for PHM Sunset Park Urban Renewal LLC, faulty block 2205. Move it.
Second.
Councilmember Bez Anderson. Yes. Councilman Chapman. Yes. Councilman Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-424, resolution of the mayor and city council of the city of Asbury Park to enter into a second amendment of subsequent developer agreement with Asbury Apartments LLC as master developer at Somerset Asbury Park in connection with redevelopment of that certain real property located at block 4105, lot 1.01, 1209 Ocean and 115 Fourth Avenue in the city of Asbury Park, which is formerly block 4105, lot 1 and 2, and a portion of lot 3. Motion. Move it. Second. Councilmember Bez Anderson.
Yes.
Councilman Chapman. Yes. Councilman Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. No. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-425, supplemental resolution authorizing the issuance of one or more series of additional non-recourse redevelopment area bonds of the city of Asbury Park in aggregate principal amount not to exceed $2 million waterfront redevelopment area infrastructure project in connection with the project being undertaken in the city by PHM Sunset Square Urban Renewal LLC as a portion of the non-recourse redevelopment area bonds of the city previously approved pursuant to a resolution duly adopted by the city council on February 20, 2015. Do I have a motion? Second. Councilmember Bez Anderson. Councilman Chapman. Yes. Councilman Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-426, resolution amending the metered parking requirements in the city for November 2024 and December 2024.
Question, you just want to announce it that,
Move it.
Second.
No question.
James, you just want to say what they are, I mean, whatever you have, like, you want to say what it is so people know.
Sure. Second. This resolution provides free parking in Benton Garage, all November and December, as well as makes free parking on Saturdays between 9 a.m. and 6 p.m. Between Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Great.
Councilmember Bez Anderson.
Yes.
Councilman Chapman. Yes. Councilman Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Resolution 2024-427, resolution authorizing the city of Asbury Park to accept an assistance to firefighter grant AFG from the Federal Emergency Management Agency FEMA relating to defined space emergencies. Authorizing the city to execute a memorandum of understanding with the Long Branch Fire Department and the Wall Township Fire District Number 3 and furtherance thereof. Do I have a motion?
Move it.
Councilmember Bez Anderson. Yes. Councilman Chapman. Yes. Councilman Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn. Yes. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
We're now on to ordinances for second reading and public hearing. I have ordinance 2024-28. Ordinance of the city of Asbury Park and the county of Monmouth and state of New Jersey authorizing the execution of a first amendment to a lease agreement with Asbury Partners LLC, Cajun Fish Holdings LLC, and AP5 Prop Holdings LLC for certain property within the Asbury Park development area. For a public hearing, Michelle. All right, Director of Planning and Redevelopment, Michelle Alonso, will provide a brief overview of this ordinance. Michelle.
This is basically a partial lease agreement for Ski Here Now. We had to move our beach clinic back to the previous lot, actually the one presented tonight. Until Ski Here Now is over, then it's going to go to the lot next to the sewer plant where we have the current lease agreement.
Thank you, Michelle. I motion for the public hearing, ordinance 2024-28.
Second.
All in favor? Public hearing, ordinance 2024-28 now open. Any public who wishes to speak, please use the microphone.
Motion closed.
Second.
All in favor? Public hearing on ordinance 2024-28 now closed. I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-28.
Move it. Second.
Councilmember Bez Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman. Yes. Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn is left room. Mayor Moore.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-29, ordinance establishing restricted parking space for use by handicapped persons in the city of Asbury Park along Bond Street and amending and supplementing chapter 7-36 entitled handicap parking, and chapter 7 traffic, other revised general ordinances of the city of Asbury Park, New Jersey, and the Director of Transportation duties and animal provide a brief overview of this ordinance. James,
It's pretty self-explanatory.
James.
So you're gonna explain both of them?
Both at once?
Yeah.
Sure, so this ordinance and the following ordinance are both placing a handicap parking space in front of residents' homes, one along Bond Street, one along North Avenue. They would have to request that the residents provide documentation to the police department who recommended they see these spaces.
Thank you, James. Do I have a motion to open public hearing on ordinance 2024-29?
Move to open.
All in favor? Aye. Public hearing on ordinance 2024-29 is now open.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing on ordinance 2024-29 is now closed. I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-29.
Move to adopt.
Councilmember Bez Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman. Councilmember Clayton.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Quinn has left the room. Mayor.
Yes.
Ordinance 2024-30, ordinance establishing restricted parking space for use by handicapped persons residing at 1550 Somerville Avenue in the city of Asbury Park, and amending and supplementing chapter, section 7-76 entitled handicap parking, of chapter 7 traffic of the revised general ordinances of the city of Asbury Park, New Jersey. I have a motion for the public hearing on 2024-30.
Move to open.
All in favor?
Aye.
Close.
Second.
Someone second? Yes. All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing now closed on ordinance 2024-30, motion to adopt ordinance 2024-30. Second. Councilmember Bez Anderson.
Yes.
Councilmember Chapman. Yes. Councilmember Clayton. Yes. Deputy Mayor Quinn.
Yes.
Mayor Moore.
Yes.
No one has anything else? I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
All in favor? Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, John, can you pick up the